49ers Weekly for week 3 of the 2023 season. I'm Nick, joined as always by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad behind the scenes, making it go.
Hey.
And Coach Woody.
Hey, everybody.
All right, folks, we're all here. It's a Monday night, and we're talking Charlotte 49ers baseball. We got a lot to get into, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. I do promise we're working on the run times for these shows. I blame Coach Woody. I don't know. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's start with a recap of this week's events. Kevin, why don't you get us started?
All right, first Tuesday night, first midweek of the season for the Niners, first road game, went down to Clemson, take on the Tigers. Back and forth ball game. Tigers were able to break it open in the 7th with 4 runs, and Niners couldn't come back after that. Despite the loss, there were some key moments in the game, including CeeLo returned to the mound after missing a year last year, and had a web gem from Austin Knight, as well as a homer from Austin.
Here's a pitch from Sims, hit on the ground. Boy, what a play! Oh, what a throw! Goodness. Oh my goodness, Knight ranging, spinning, and throwing, falling down. A web gem for sure. Here's a pitch from Sims, hit on the ground. Boy, what a play. Oh, what a throw. Goodness. Oh my goodness, Knight ranging, spinning, and throwing, falling down. A web gem for sure to end the 4th.
You know, I hate technology. I absolutely hate technology. Despite the fact that it makes all of this possible and pretty much everything we do, I still hate you, technology. I blame ChatGPT or something like that. I promise you, folks, these things don't buffer when we try them out when we're not on them. They don't.
Right.
Producer Brad, do you want to try it again, or is it going to do it again?
4th. Wow. From Sims, hit on the ground. Boy, what a play. Oh, what a throw. Oh my goodness, Knight ranging, spinning, and throwing, falling down. A web gem for sure to end the 4th.
Well, doing it like that actually adds to it.
Yeah, you get it in slow mo.
You won't see a better play. Austin Knight, they hit into the shift. Austin Knight makes a circus play. There's not a lot of folks. We could have shown you. We could have tried to show you his home run, but when it came down to it, lots of people hit home runs. There's only a few people that can do that, and Austin Knight's one of them. So we wanted to show it to you. Moving on, Friday saw the Niners drop a marathon 13-inning game to a veteran Army squad by a score of 7-6. Niners scored 6 runs on 11 hits, including 3 from Brandon Stallman, doubles from Austin Knight and Blake Jackson, and a homer from Caden Hobson, which he absolutely crushed. The Niners defense continued to be a theme, producing big plays, including this diving catch that we're going to try to show you from Aubrey Gillentine. Brad, let's see what we got.
Pops that one straight up. Gillentine makes the catch. And the double play. What a play from the Southern Miss transfer.
Nice crowd reaction
Just
there.
like that, the 49ers, 2 outs on the board.
There's Producer Brad.
Huge defensive play from
There's
their pitchers.
Producer Brad is actually in the video that he's showing you.
Bunt is just not executed properly. Diving play, heads up from Hobson to throw over to first, to get his pitcher to throw over to first. 16, he struck out.
Not a lot of folks that can make that athletic of a play. They say, I know that this is something we get into with you, Woody. They say pitchers aren't athletes, but that looked pretty darn athletic to me.
We work on those plays all the time. We have we practice that stuff all the time, and we do this thing called King of the Hill. And it's funny. I think Aubrey either won it or finished second today in our King of the Hill competition. Our P's get after it on the defensive side of the ball. They take a lot of pride in it.
And I do believe, Kevin, that made SportsCenter top 10.
Number two on SportsCenter top 10. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that.
I thought Austin's play would make SportsCenter top 10 too, but it didn't. They actually showed a far less interesting defensive play from the Clemson center fielder as a SportsCenter top 10 for that show. But whatever, you tune in here and you get to see what really happened. So okay, Kevin, who was on the Saturday?
Saturday. Niners offense came alive Saturday. 10 runs. Lots of Niners hit homers. Butch hit his first homer of the season. Cam hit his first homer and his second homer of the season. Wiesner got in on the action with a grand slam. Stallman hit a homer as well. So high scoring affair at the Hayes. We got, but the Niners dropped a heartbreaker 11-10. Another one-run game to Army on Saturday. I believe we have that grand slam from Wiesner queued up here.
Drag him due up. Wiesner gets a hold of that one into center field. Golinski's going back at the wall. That one's gone! Grand slam for the 49ers. They get 4 back. Dead center field. Eli Wiesner, what a jack.
Great call.
Blasts that 407 feet dead center. 104 mile an hour exit velocity at a 26-degree launch angle. And folks, we got ourselves a new game.
So Eli's first home run in a Niner uniform happens to be a grand slam. So looking forward to more of that from Eli. Nothing wrong with that at all. Niners end up dropping the heartbreaker 11-10. So we moved to Sunday, really needing to make something happen. Friday we pitched, but maybe needed to hit a little more. And on Saturday we hit, but maybe needed to pitch a little more. Sunday, all came together, all phases. Freshman Miles Langhorne making his second start. Got touched up a little bit last week in his first start, after high school, frankly. However, Miles comes back in week 2 and goes 5 scoreless innings, just 3 hits. The offense continues to go, 11 runs on 8 hits, including a bases reloaded double from Blake Jackson, which we are going to attempt to show you right here.
Counts 3-2. Pitch comes in. Jackson gets a hold of that one into center field. Golinski back. Right at the wall. That's going to score 1. That's going to score 2. They're bringing the third home. Big time inning for the 49ers. Blake Jackson. 3 RBI double.
So the Niners take game 3, 11-2. And hopefully that produces some momentum heading into what will be a big week of Niner baseball. Now, there are, and they shouldn't buffer on Twitter. All 4 of those plays have something in common that we showed you. Started a new feature on Diamond Niner Report Twitter this week. All 4 of those plays are up for play of the week. So you can head over to Twitter. We've got those videos posted. They're all threaded for you. And then there's a poll. The poll closed at 4 p.m., which is first pitch time on Tuesday against UNC Asheville. So head over there and vote for your choice for play of the week between those 4. Now, and Kevin, you and I watched this one together. We have another video that we want to show that is not up for play of the week, but it probably should be. There was a situation we showed you Aubrey making the play off the mound on Saturday, and then the next inning he had to be removed from the game. Coach Woodard goes out to the mound and calls for the righty. You see him do this. And what happens before the video, before it comes on, Caden Hobson is also signaling righty. There seems to be some confusion down in the bullpen about exactly who Coach Woodard wants. And then this happened.
As they're coming together, they're making the call to the bullpen.
Oh, come on. Stop the slow-mo stuff. This is too good to mess up.
Oh, it went through it too fast.
I hate me some technology. Producer Brad, let's try that part again.
Covering their mouths, looking at their gloves, making the call to the bullpen.
Here we go. There we go. Perfect. That's going to have to do it. Good enough. In the end, the way Coach Woody tells him he won't tell Sims is he raises his hand above his head and then he spreads his hands wide. I want the big guy. This is fantastic. This is the content you're here for. I wish it would play better. Coach Woody, let's just start right there. What's up with that?
I was well, first of all, communication is extremely important to any successful team or organization. So, we were communicating in the best of our ability. And then two, I was channeling my inner Tom Bradley, who was my pitching coach in short season single A baseball when I was with the San Diego Padres in Eugene, Oregon. And TB, we had so many pitchers, and it's short season A ball. So guys are getting drafted and free agents are getting signed and guys are getting sent down and guys are getting called up from rookie ball. And, essentially what it boils down to is we all had like they didn't call down the bullpen and say, hey, Robert or Woody needs to start throwing or getting ready. Like my sign was just chopping wood. So it was just chopping wood. And then I was supposed to start throwing. So I don't even know if I know TB knew my name, but I was channeling my inner short season A ball pitching coach that just used hand signals to let the bullpen know which pitcher was supposed to come into the game. And I thought I did a pretty good job. The right pitcher came in the game, and so good.
There's a lot of righties. There's a lot of righties in there, so you have to distinguish between them, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's no mistake in that one. So we actually we heard from Hale's family about that, and they were laughing. And I think Kevin saw you make the tall gesture. I missed the whole thing, but we got the message about it and went and looked it up. And I just when I found it, I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, it was just great because I knew exactly what you meant. It gets the message across. Yeah. So, all right, let's get. I'm glad we got to start this one lighthearted because that's good. That's what we're here to do. Coach, we're going to talk about the week that was in Niner baseball. Yep. I know this was not the week that this is not the week that you drew up exactly. But you play through it, you learn, you adjust, you get better. So what do you where do you want to start as far as talking about what you learned about your team this week?
Well, I mean, we've played 8 games, right? Like it's really easy for people to either jump to conclusions. Like if you're 8-0, you're the best team in the country. If you're 0-8, you're the worst team in the country. Like usually neither are true. So, 4-4 doesn't mean we're the most average team in the country by any stretch of the imagination. So you just try to, take what the game teaches you. And for me, I feel as though that, all 4 of our victories have been relatively in hand and decisive in a sense. And then I feel like all 4 of our losses, 3 of which are by 1 run. The other one, we were tied in the 7th inning, 5-5. So we've either won every game or we've had a chance to win in the last at bat in 3 of them. And then the other one we were tied in 7th. So like I said, it's like, and that's with no Jake Cunningham. That's with, other guys playing banged up or dinged up and, some guys coming back from stuff. So, I know that everybody in the country is not at full strength, but we're still not at full strength in the fact that we've kind of shown that manner. Certainly, nobody hates losing more than myself, our coaching staff, our players. But we certainly have seen a lot of things that we like. One of which is just the consistency of our guys. I think I've seen now just kind of the way that the look in their eyes after a loss. I like the way it looks. We've seen our guys respond. We've seen our guys bounce back. We've seen our guys with their backs against a wall on Sunday, and then show as they did yesterday. So we've seen a lot of things. We've seen some things that have worked well for us and not worked well for us. I think every coach, you're always trying to. You have a good idea of what you want your pitching staff in terms of just your rotation and your guys coming in certain spots. You have an idea. You work on those things all preseason and all fall, but sometimes just the nature of it when another uniform's in there. There's guys that need to get back out there quickly, and there's guys that hit the ground running. And so there's been a little bit of that. And, so ultimately the things that we talk about, and we talked about it at breakfast on Sunday as a team, I'll kind of wrap up with this is, our coaching staff, our players, our sports staff, we pride ourselves on, after a game, there's no real getting around it. Like, you can tell if we won, you can tell if we lost. We love winning. We hate losing. And so we're never going to try to really conceal those emotions. But the next day, when we're all together, it's just really important to me as the leader of the program and our coaching staff. We really talked about at breakfast how great teams, which we are and we aspire to be and continue to be, are incredibly consistent. And so the way that we interact with one another, the way that we speak to one another, the way that we prepare for the games, the way that we compete within the games, and the way that we handle winning and losing, it should be very consistent. And I think that's really important for great teams over the course of a season. So I like what I've seen so far in those things. Like I said, nobody would rather be 8-0 more than myself and our coaching staff and players, but we've seen a lot of good things to build from here in a very young season, not even in March yet.
Coach, I noticed you kind of shook up the lineup a couple times over the weekend. Talk a little bit about that, and I think more or less trying to plug in different pieces and find out where different pieces work, and sometimes out of necessity, sometimes out of just trying to find a hot bat. Talk a little bit about the lineup changes that you made, experimented with this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of our coaching staff, we talk about those things all the time. It kind of starts with our players and who's showing us the things that they're doing and how the things that they're capable of, and we kind of build around that, and then we obviously pay attention to who they're starting. We talk about who their key relievers are. We talk about who their closer is. As far as do we want to build their lineup a little bit around the first inning, or do we want to ensure that we protect ourselves against a key reliever or reliever's closer kind of thing, and those kind of things. Do we want to be do we want to be a little bit more on the defensive side, or do we want to be a little bit more on the offensive side in terms of run production early kind of thing? So we talk about those things as a coaching staff all the time, and there's no real magic formula, I don't think, but I think there's a lot of experience on our coaching staff, and we're very proud of the fact that even not at full strength the first 8 games, we have a very versatile group of position players that are very capable, and a lot of them playing multiple positions and coming off the bench and hitting leadoff or hitting 7-hole. They don't care. So that's been a definite strength for us, is having a very versatile lineup where we can we can kind of build around our guys' strengths and our opponents' strengths as well, and try to create a formula that scores a lot of runs and prevents a lot of runs.
Yeah, Coach. Let's walk through some of these. Just looking through box scores here and noticing some of these key performances on the mound that you got this week. And I know you don't like talking about pitching at all, but let's see if you can make an exception for us. You got another quality start from Wyatt Hudapole, giving you on Friday night, giving you 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, but in 6 innings. I mean, that's a competitive start, and he looks like he's been a key piece coming in out of the transfer portal.
Oh, no question. I mean, we've talked about Wyatt, I think, in previous podcasts, and just, I mean, his makeup, character, leadership, competitiveness, combined with work ethic and talent. I mean, it's, we hit the jackpot with him coming to Charlotte and joining our team. And he's really done a great job our first 2 weeks and setting the tone for the weekend. And I'm just really happy for him. He wanted to go back out there for the 7th. And, truthfully, we would have sent him, if we were in April already, we would have sent him back out there for the 7th. But, it's just, I want him to be stronger in April than February. And I've just, we're always going to prioritize our guys' health and well-being over the course of 56 games ahead of, yes, winning Friday night would have been and is important, but we're not going to do so at the extent of Wyatt's season and having him being fresh and able to go each and every Friday, each and every weekend, and because we need him for the long haul. So just kind of it's part of our jobs as coaches is to look out for our guys in that sense. And but he really wanted to go back out there for the 7th, and that's just the kind of competitor he is.
You set Friday night. You set a program record 20 Ks. So Wyatt definitely had a role in that. So a little piece of history on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I always say it, anytime you're in a record, you do something that's in a record book and you win, that's a good day. So we can't quite say it's a good day, but it's promising. It gets back to what I was talking about earlier, and I think we're top 30 in the country in strikeouts, and our walks are down from previous years, and our hit by pitches are down from previous years. And so, I really, and we still don't feel like we're firing on all cylinders quite yet on the mound, but we're getting a lot of really good performances from a lot of different guys. So those guys keep firing on cylinders, and then we get some other guys going. Then I really like this pitching staff a lot.
Let's touch on Sunday starter Miles Langhorne just a minute. We talked about this last week that he had not pitched a game since high school. He missed last year due to injury, and so basically he's by all intents and purposes a freshman making his second start when you get right down to it. Last week was not able to extend his outing. But you kind of got we did end up winning the game, and you basically got a freebie. You got to get Miles's feet wet last weekend. And then this week you turned to him in frankly a key spot, because we came into yesterday needing to win real bad. Mm-hmm. And all he does is go out there and go 5 innings, 3 hits. Now, I think the key stat here, honestly, well, there's 2 key stats here on this line, Woody. 1 strikeout, so he's not mowing people down. He's getting people to get themselves out. People are putting swings on balls and not making solid contact, and your defense is taking care of the rest. The other is 0 walks. Not a single walk in those 5 innings. 3 hits, 1 K, 0 walks in 5 innings in his second start ever. Really in a situation where our back's against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I told him as soon as I went to, as soon as I told him that was it in the dugout, I told him that was the start. That was the start that this team needed. And, I mean, we've talked about Miles before in previous podcasts. He's one of the most talented pitchers in our program, and he's an extremely hard worker, and he's a very, very fast learner. That's the other thing is like that you can kind of show him something or tell him something, or, he kind of gives you this look like, got it. And he processes it and he applies it. And so, we've just, as coaches, we do with all of our players, really just after outings, we kind of talk about things, and we're talking about last outing. And, long story short, I kind of made a joke with him. I said, your last outing was in high school. And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, do you remember how confident you were? Yeah. You remember how confident you were? And, before that last outing of high school? And he was like, extremely. And I was like, well, yeah, you're top 150 prospects in high school, in baseball, and, you're committed to go to, a really great, college baseball program, and, you're facing high school guys. I said, why don't you just pretend you're facing high school hitters the rest of the season? And, we kind of joke, we kind of laugh, and I was like, I mean, seriously, like, why, and so I went out there and I was standing with him when he was throwing, and he had to look like he didn't, there was nothing I said that led to the outing necessarily. But I did say to him out there, hey, we get to face Army High School today. And, I certainly don't mean that with any disrespect. It's for anyone that's, enjoys kind of the mental game of baseball or sports or that kind of thing. We were really just trying to kind of reframe the situation and kind of channel that same confidence that I know I would assume that Miles had, as most of our players did their senior year of high school, and they're the best player on the field. And so those are the kind of things we really just talked about. I think he made one little small delivery change as well, which again, he said, I don't know why I started, after rehab, but he's like, I didn't used to go over my head in my wind up, and, and so we kind of cut that out. So there was, one small physical kind of adjustment. And then there was just, kind of, I think a lot of, kind of just mental growth between outings. And I give Miles all the credit because it's incredibly mature for a player of his age to have an outing like that first one and not get so clouded in, the struggle or the results. And he really just kind of broke it down and said, these are the things that I'm going to do better the next time I'm out there. And just give him all the credit. He went out there and did it, and it was a huge, huge start for our team, and something that I think, I know that CK and Hale and, Clark Dearman tomorrow, and I know that hitting is contagious, but I've always believed that pitching is contagious too.
Yeah, another guy that I'd like you to touch on a little bit here, Cam Hansen. I thought he pitched well this weekend as well, out of the pen. And he's pitched well all season. I think he's made 2 appearances and had 2 pretty good outings, I think.
Yeah, I think Wyatt and, Aubrey and Andrew Spoyer and Cam Hansen.
I'll bring him up next.
I think those guys, I know I'm leaving a couple out, but I think Cam, you mentioned Cam and Spoyer and those other guys I mentioned, they put us in a position to have a chance to sweep. We didn't sweep, obviously, but they put us in a position to win the series and sweep. And, those guys continue to pitch like that, then, there will be less Sundays where our backs against a wall, and there'll be more Sundays where we're going for victories and we're going for sweeps. Cam and all those guys were awesome.
From one Cam to another, how about our guy Cam Fisher? He looks like he's back to his old ways. He was not having exactly the year at the plate. I say the year. We're 2 weeks in the season. He did not have the start he wanted at the plate, but starting Saturday, that sure looked a lot like Cam Fisher to me.
Yeah, I can. And I told Cam this. Like, there's a, if there are things that I think about on my ride in and my ride home that, maybe we need to get better at, or we need to improve upon, or that whatever it may be as a coach. I think all coaches do that. One of which that is not is Cam Fisher a really, really good baseball player and hitter? So I don't worry about Cam. And it's baseball, man. Like it's hitting's the toughest thing to do in sports. And I think he was kind of calibrating. I use that word a decent amount because I think it's valid, but I think he was kind of calibrating, like finding that gear that where he plays. And I think Butch is doing it too. I think Knight's found that gear. I think, I think Blake Jackson's calibrating. Brandon Stallman, Josh Patrick, Caden Hobson he's been calibrated since, game one. I think there's a little bit of that goes on the first couple of weeks of the season, and here we go. Like, really enjoy writing Cam Fisher in blue ink because he's left-handed hitter in the lineup every day.
Yeah, and you brought up Brandon Stallman, another newcomer. He's been really the term that comes to mind is pleasant surprise, but that makes it sound like I wasn't expecting much, and that's not the case at all. But that was a flawless transition into the lineup for Brandon.
Yeah, he's been incredibly consistent since, really we met him in the recruiting process and just loved him in the recruiting process, and his coaches raved about him and his work ethic and his competitiveness and his consistency. And, he is the same person every day in a great way, not like a, stuck in his ways kind of way. Like, he's the same, like, highly motivated, highly coachable, highly competitive person every day. And, it's really cool that, he's getting, he's showing that in such an early stage of our season. He's doing a great job.
All right. Do you want to go ahead and move on to this week's games, Nick, or you want to?
Well, I was gonna go one more question. We'll see if it's a bridge too far for Woody. So we'll just ask the you've alluded to it. We'll just ask the question, and then we'll let you say about it whatever you feel like you want to say about it, and then we'll move on. So we're beat up in a number of different spots. Some guys have got some stuff going on. We obviously know we're waiting to get Jake back in the lineup. And fans that were at the stadium will notice that Austin had to come out as well. So we've got some issues with injuries across the diamond. What comment do you feel like offering on the injury front, Woody?
Yeah, I can't say too much, for a multitude of reasons, but we're really close to getting both those guys back, and some others, they're just our coaching staff. First and foremost, like Donna Nemo, our athletic trainer, she is 13 years of doing this. Like, I have not worked with a better athletic trainer than her. She is phenomenal, and she takes such great care of our guys, whether it's minor things, just daily things, or bigger rehab things. And she does a great job. And, she teams up with Eric McKibben, our director of performance. And, so he does a great job on the training side on the front end, but also, when guys come down with something small or something big, like he does a phenomenal job of individualized training with our players to, really try to expedite the process of recovery, but also prepare them so they're not rushed when they do come back. So, the good thing is I'm very confident that, sometimes as a coach, you worry when a player's out, like, okay, well, now we're gonna have to wait 2 weeks for him to get going again. Well, I think because of the hard work of Donna and Eric behind the scenes on a daily basis, like when these guys come back here soon, they're gonna hit the ground running, and so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Kevin. Before we move on, and that'll be that's every team every season, right? We just have to keep going and getting healthier as we go, particularly as we build towards conference play. Because in the end, that's what we've really got to gear up for is that grind. I guess I want to say 10-week grind, is it 9-week grind this year because of the departures from the conference, but it's going to be a long grind, the conference schedule. So getting healthy for that will be the key. And yes, I agree with you, Don and Nemo, you the real MVP. So no doubt about that.
Very good. Yep.
Kevin, why don't we talk first? Why don't we take a little detour here before we talk about this week's games? Why don't we talk about high school baseball opening day, which I believe was today, right? I think we got a reminder about that on Twitter somewhere this morning.
Yeah, I saw it on social media somewhere. One of the coaches that we follow on social media tweeted a picture out of him and another member of the coaching staff.
Let's producer Brad, can you pull that up? Let's just get that out in the open.
Man, look at that team.
There we go. Now, the 2003 Myers Park Mustangs. Now, for those of you who, for those of you who are blind, that's Toby Bicknell over on the left.
Oh yeah. I think he's like 23. I think he's like 23 in that photo ish.
And hadn't changed a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, you would pick Toby Bicknell out of that lineup anytime.
Yeah,
absolutely.
People had a tough time picking me out, which I thought was interesting.
I did. Kevin and I got into a debate about which one was you. I was doubting whether or not you were even in this photograph.
I'm gonna start running again. Jeez.
So for those not in places like Arden, Naples, big concentration of our listeners, which one are you?
So I'm two over from Coach Bick. So I'm two. What is that like? If you're, I'm two to the right if you're facing the picture. So I'm 20. I'm number
24.
24, right? That's what I thought. That was my pick, Coach. And
nice. Good work.
Coach, if you told me that you were actually not pictured in this photo, I would take your word for it, because I could not. I was zooming in on every person. Like, is that? Honestly, I couldn't tell it was you. Really couldn't.
Yeah, that was like 6'1", 195. If we won the game I started, I ran 5 miles the next day. If we lost the game I started, I ran 10 miles the next day. So I was a little different frame 20 years ago, as I think most people are. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Also, when distance running was a big thing for pitchers.
Well, you don't want to go back to that, because your knees will not thank you for it. No.
I'm good on those distances.
Yeah, that. Wow, I was blown away, because I was like, obviously, yeah, that's Toby, no doubt about it. Where's Woody?
Yeah, it was an awesome group. I mean, my freshman year, I was on an 8-win varsity team at Myers Park. That, it was. I learned a lot that year, and then by that year we were the state runners up, and I think we were like 33-5 or 34-5, something like that. Didn't lose a single home game, that team, and so it just always stuck with me. I was like, man, that is like the definition of toughness. Is like you don't lose a single home game, or road game. We didn't lose a single road game the whole season. And that's like the definition of toughness to me, is like is you got to look at the win. It's hard to win on the road. It's like in chess, white is two equal players. White's favored to win. It's just having the throwing the first pitch and having the last at bat. There's just an inherent advantage to that. So it's tougher. So that a lot of special memories on that team, and so many of those guys. I still have a Mustangs group chat on my phone and stay in touch with so many of those guys, and a couple of my best friends are in there, and just a lot of great memories in that photo. And Coach Bick was an awesome coach to play for then, and still is now.
And you're wearing 24.
Yeah, I think the jersey just fit. Like it was like, I think actually I know that's what happened. I was 2 for Derek Jeter, like when I was a freshman, and then I needed a bigger jersey, and so I just grabbed 24. That was basically it.
And so in college you switched to 20, and then you've been with it ever since.
Coach Fox gave me 20. I remember I had 0 say, and Coach Fox made sure I knew that I had 0 say in my number. I'd never been 20 before, never in any sport. And I was training in summer school. I was the only incoming freshman training at summer school because I threw so many innings my senior year of high school that I was finishing up a workout at Boshamer Stadium, and Coach Fox came walking in the locker room, and I guess they had put up the new numbers, and I saw it that day, and I saw I was 20, and he was just like, "You're not supposed to see this yet." And I said, "I'm sorry." Like, he goes, "Well," he's like, "You don't get to pick your number here." I said, "Coach, I'm just happy to be here. Like, I don't need a number. Just locker's good. Like, I don't need I can be numberless. It's fine." And,
what if he had let you pick your hand sign for when he's calling to the bullpen?
It was like, I was just happy to be there. Like any sign, any number, like, they gave me the same gear as all the other guys that came in the recruiting class. Like, I genuinely thought that was cool. Like I was not a big recruit. I was, but it's just funny to me. Like he was on me about number 20. And I was like, I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. I was like, I don't really like the number 20, but I was like, we'll try to make something out of it, I guess. And then here we are, however many years later, still wearing it.
Yep. You're 20 now.
Yep.
All right, Kevin, let's talk about this week.
All right. Game notes came out today. So we got UNC Asheville tomorrow at the Hayes, 4:00, Conference USA TV if you can't make it to the Hayes. Clark Dearman is scheduled to open to start the game. Last year, we beat Asheville 5-0 at home. I think you're 1-0 in your career against Asheville as a head coach. So they come in at 5-2. They've won a series over Sacred Heart, and they've won a series at Eastern Kentucky this past weekend. So they're off to a hot start. Coach, talk a little bit about what we can expect from UNC Asheville tomorrow.
Yeah, they're a very, very competitive, talented group that is playing with a lot of confidence. And, I was kind of winding down last night, and I was watching their game at Eastern Kentucky, and just like they get after it. So, there's just Coach Friedholm and their staff, like they do a really great job recruiting the state of North Carolina, and they get some Georgia guys and East Tennessee guys on their rosters, and they're going to be a really good team, really good challenge for us in our first midweek home game.
So then taking a look a little further ahead, got a big weekend coming up. First road weekend trip for you. Traveling up to Virginia Tech. Some polls, top 11, top 15 teams in the country. They won a series at College of Charleston. They won a series over Bryant. Took 2 of 3 in both of those series. And you yourself spent a little time up there in Blacksburg. Coach, talk about the weekend coming up on the road and at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, no, Coach Jeff and their staff, they've done a tremendous job of coming in there and really transforming the program. You know, after my time there, so it's a completely different deal up there now from when I was there, and it's just really cool to see. Just because, like I said, I spent 3 years of my life coaching there, and it's a really neat place and a really beautiful part of the country. That's like kind of, I don't know if sneakily is a word, but like sneakily close to here. Like everybody, I feel like when I coached at Virginia Tech, like people are like, how far is that? Like 7 hours? And I'm like, it's like, it's like 2.5 hours up the road, 3 hours. And, but it's a place that kind of seems further away than it actually is. And, but a beautiful ballpark and team that was in the super regionals last year against, against Oklahoma, and took them down to the wire, and, not an easy ballpark to pitch in on certain days. It can be, it's 3,000 feet above sea level. At one point it was the highest elevated football stadium, and Lane Stadium was the highest elevation, I think, of any football stadium east of the Mississippi at one point. I don't know if it still is or not, but with the baseball stadium being right next to it, you have to assume that the baseball stadium is one of the highest elevated baseball stadiums east of the Mississippi. So there's some thinner air up there, and the wind typically blows pretty heavily out to left. So maybe there'll be a little bit of an advantage from the standpoint that I really know what to expect there, and we'll have a good practice up there Thursday and talk about it. I know the wind pushes left-handed balls that slice towards the right field foul line. Those get pushed fair. So, Cam will have to stay on some balls that slice. It's a unique place. There's going to be, there can be some interesting box scores up there, and you're never too far ahead or too far down up there. You just kind of have to embrace that, all the elements are equal, and that you can, you just play until they tell you to stop. And they're a really good team, so it'll be a good challenge.
Now, Coach, my daughter and I are coming up for the weekend, and I think Kevin is going to potentially make an appearance during the weekend as well. So what we need from you is maybe some good solid recommendations for our place to eat.
Yeah, I'll do my best. It's not Charlotte, I'll tell you that, when it comes to food up there. There's a few good spots, but you might go to some. Sorry, got a little one working over here.
Is there anywhere that we can go that we can walk in the front door and just tell them that Woody sent us? Does that place exist?
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was getting barked at.
Can we go anywhere and drop anywhere? Is there anywhere in town that we can walk in and drop your name? Like, not where we get thrown out, but like where maybe we.
Yeah, you might get told to leave at a few places.
So it sounds very similar to Old Dominion's playing conditions. How close would you say it's to playing at Old Dominion?
It's pretty similar. Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. At times I would say the wind can be even more intense up there in Blacksburg. So, but the outfield dimensions are bigger. So what happens is that balls can certainly fly out of the yard, but then when your outfield depth gets deep, you'll see some flares get blown like over the infield that land in front of the outfield because you're playing deep. So it's, the good thing for us is that, we're built with defenders that, obviously Jake is not quite back yet, which, but Blake Jackson's a center fielder, Cam Fisher's a center fielder, and Spencer Nolan's a center fielder. So those three guys cover a lot of ground. And you need that there in Blacksburg. So, because if you've got outfielders that can really hit, but they can't run and cover a lot of ground, then it can make for a long weekend there. So we are built with an outfield defense that can cover some ground.
Just pulled the weather forecast. You're right about it being a pretty easy trip up there. So if anybody wants to come up, it would be very possible to come up on Saturday and just take in a game even and go back home. Weather forecast Friday is a high of 61, and the rain forecast is not good. So it's still early in the week, but Friday does not look like a great forecast right now. So you have to keep an eye on that. But
yeah, there's a chance of doubleheader on Saturday. Coach Chef and I we're gonna talk about it a little more on Wednesday, and pitching will be ready and we'll be ready to go. It's part of it.
Yeah, rest of the weekend looks pretty good. Sunny and 52 on Saturday and sunny and 51 on Sunday. Although I say that
definitely take that there.
Yeah, and depending on what the wind's doing, bring layers, Niners.
I mean, if it was, in my experience there, when it was over 30, like it felt good. It was like the 50s is very, very good for this time of year. So
yeah, I have a feeling if the sun's shining on you, that's going to work. Sun goes behind a cloud. Like I said, bring layers. So good stuff. All right, Coach. I'm looking at the clock here. The clock's ticking. We're at 51 minutes. Aren't we supposed to go like another 40 minutes or something like that? In that
intermission. See everybody inside.
No intermission this week. We've been promising we would get this show under an hour. Kevin, I think we did it. We can even brag on ourselves for another 6 or 7 minutes and still close this out under an hour. What do you think?
Yeah, the clock's ticking. I don't know. We do a lot of bragging, so I don't know if we can fit it in.
Yeah, we do enough. All right, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Let's be really proud of ourselves here and wrap this thing up. Come out to the Hayes tomorrow night. See the Niners play UNC Asheville, Conference USA TV. If not, and then all your games this weekend should be on ACC Network Plus at Virginia Tech. But even better plan, just jump in the car and come on up.
Trading card. We didn't talk about trading cards. Yeah,
well, too late. There's 7. They're 2 packs into a 7-pack series, so we'll have time to talk about the trading cards. I'm declaring victory. The show's under an hour, and I'm about to wrap it up.
Hold on, they are saying that trading card pack 2 is going to be a giveaway tomorrow, so it is relative.
Oh, another trading pack for tomorrow. So
I think they're doubling up on pack 2. So there you go.
Okay, so if you miss pack 2, come get a pack 2 tomorrow. And the trading cards are pretty cool, by the way, if you didn't see those, but we'll talk about another show. We're declaring victory right now and wrapping this thing up. We're out of time for this week. Look for this podcast wherever you find your podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe in order to be notified of new content. You can find Diamond Niner Report on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, just not TikTok. Reach out anytime you'd like. We love hearing from you. If you're old-fashioned like us, just say hello at the ballpark, even if that ballpark's Virginia Tech's ballpark. For Kevin, producer Brad, and Coach Woody, this has been Nick saying we'll see you at the Hayes.
Go Niners.